And why are you coming out on the internet defensive? You were the last person with her.
The Braxton streets are straight buzzing right now, and it's a messy three-way showdown nobody saw coming. Tamar Braxton had the whole internet gasping last week after she jumped on Instagram, saying she woke up in a pool of her own blood. 4 teeth gone, nose fractured, the whole 9. She painted it like a full-on Lifetime movie scene, and fans instantly turned her comments into a digital prayer circle. Bloggers were rushing to drop updates, and Tamartians were scared stiff. But while everyone was panicking for Tamar, the spotlight slid onto one unexpected name, Funky Dineva. Why him? Because he was the last one seen with Tamar before all this chaos exploded. Now listen, Funky is no rookie when it comes to mess. His whole brand is built on loud, unfiltered commentary. But when the attention flipped from Tamar to him, he panicked and jumped on live with a defense speech like he was testifying in court. Instead of sounding worried about Tamar, he kept coldly calling her the lady, like they hadn't just been popping bottles together the night before. And then came the alibi. Step by step, he laid it out. Ruth's Chris, then the V12 nightclub, then a car service drop-off, then home eating smothered pork chops. The way he rattled it off felt less like concern for a friend and more like a Law & Order episode. That's when folks started giving him the side-eye, and guess who pounced? Tasha K. Y'all know Tasha got her own beef with Funky, and she never misses a shot to drag him. She hopped in quick, reminding everybody that Funky is, in her words, a jealous, envious man who can't stand seeing black women shine. And the second Tamar's bloody story went viral and Funky came off cold instead of caring, Tasha wasted no time saying, "This is the Funky I know, the one y'all don't. See, been salty since forever, always playing the victim and always throwing shade." And now the receipts got folks revisiting old clips of Funky looking tight whenever Tamar got love. Suddenly, Tasha's dragging doesn't feel like shade anymore. It feels like prophecy coming true. And here's the wild part. Tamar hasn't even stepped up to clear the air. She dropped one dramatic post, vanished, and left Funky hanging like yesterday's laundry. That silence got people whispering if maybe, just maybe, Tasha is right to ride with Tamar this time. Now what we got is a triangle hotter than a soap opera. Tamar, the victim asking for prayers. Funky, the so-called friend sounding more like a defense attorney than a ride or die. And Tasha, the wild card, allegedly siding with Tamar while snatching Funky by his wig cap every chance she gets. This mess is layered, it's messy, and it's boiling over fast. Because if there's one thing we know in this game, messy friends always expose themselves sooner or later. And this time, Funky might have just handed Tamar and Tasha the scissors to cut him loose. But let's get into Funky's mouthpiece, because that's what really flipped the script from concern to confrontation. Instead of showing love and saying, "That's my girl, y'all pray for her," Funky jumped on live like a man building a defense case. The way he laid it out had people side-eyeing heavy. First red flag? He kept calling Tamar the lady. Not Tamar, not my girl, not my friend, just cold the lady over and over again. Like, who does that? And then he added, "I don't know what happened to the lady," as if they weren't just partying together. The lady text, the lady said she was missing 4 teeth. Now let's be real. If you were just out celebrating your friend's birthday the night before, why would you talk about her like she's some random stranger at Publix? Fans caught that quick and the side-eye was heavy. Something about it just didn't sit right. Then came Funky's so-called timeline. Mapped out to the plate, dinner at Ruth's Chris, V12 nightclub, dramatic entrance, car service drop-off for Tamar, then straight to BJ Roosters before heading home for smothered pork chops and cabbage. He listed it all like a sworn police statement, even though nobody had accused him of anything yet. That's what made people suspicious. Why give a step-by-step alibi before the questions are even asked? On the internet, when you move that defensive, you automatically look guilty. Meanwhile, Tamar had just posted that she almost died waking up in a pool of her own blood. That's terrifying. But instead of showing compassion, Funky's first instinct was to protect himself. It felt like, let me clear me before I care about she. And that rubbed people the wrong way big time. Even Tasha K said, if you really a friend, the first thing out, your mouth wouldn't be excuses, it would be concern.
I'm willing to think, hypothetically, let's just, he stay on an edible. He stay drinking, and he stay on an edible. And that lady was out partying with you. Now, your tolerance is obviously a lot higher. I'm inclined to think he went to Colombia on the black market and got a liver transplant, because as much as this man drank and do and all the other things and edibles, that's why he had to come out and say, I'm not high, but I am on an edible.
And the fact that it wasn't, that's why folks keep saying he was moving funny. Now here's where it gets even stickier. Funky himself admitted Tamar texted him the next morning asking for Dr. Heavenly's number. And when he followed up, she told him straight, she was missing 4 teeth. 4 teeth gone, child. And his response wasn't, oh my God, are you okay? It was straight confusion, like, so you just woke up and your teeth were missing? That cold, detached reaction had fans clutching their pearls. It didn't read like concern. It read selfish, detached, and self-involved. And that's exactly why Tasha lit into him, saying this is the real Funky Dineva, the one she's been warning folks about all along. The jealous, envious type who can't handle it when the spotlight shifts to somebody else, especially a black woman. That's exactly how folks painted Funky. And when Tamar's spotlight turned tragic, instead of standing up for her, Funky allegedly stood up for himself. So now fans are asking the real question. Did he truly not know anything? Or did he just not care enough to even ask? And that right there is the gag. Funky's first response exposed more about his character than it did about Tamar's pain. That's why Tasha K and Tamar both got the receipts cocked, loaded, and ready to spray at any moment. But let's be real. The reason Tasha K is riding so hard for Tamar ain't just about sisterhood or solidarity. This beef runs way deeper than that. Tasha and Funky have been locked in a cold war for years, and Tamar's bloody situation just threw gasoline on an already burning fire. Their feud is legendary in the gossip streets. See, Funky once snapped on live, going on a full tirade, calling Tasha every name in the messy handbook, threatening to slap the taste out her mouth, and even dragging her husband into it. That wasn't shade, that was his ego boiling over in real time. And anybody who knows Funky knows one thing: he can't hold water. He'll spill his own tea before he lets someone else do it. And Tasha, please. She wasn't about to duck no smoke. She clipped that rant, blasted it across her platforms, and told her followers exactly what she thought about him. According to her, Funky couldn't stand to see a black woman shine brighter than him. She claimed his so-called reads didn't come from wit, they came from jealousy. Every eye roll when the spotlight wasn't on him was proof, sis said. To Tasha, Funky's real problem wasn't her personally. It was women like her, loud, confident, and unapologetically center stage. So here we are, fast forward to Tamar's shocking claims. Bloody face, missing teeth, the whole nightmare. Funky runs to the internet, cold as ice, calling her the lady. And the blogs ate it up like free samples. To most, it looked shady as hell. But to Tasha, oh, it looked familiar. She's been saying for years that Funky can't genuinely celebrate nobody else, that he lives off being the messiest person in any room. Seeing Tamar take the hit while Funky slid out the side door felt like deja vu to her. That's why Tasha jumped in heavy, not just as Tamar's supporter, but as someone with receipts stacked higher than the drama itself. She didn't need to force herself into this storyline. Her history with Funky made it automatic. To her, Tamar's ordeal wasn't just tragic, it was classic Funky. Self-preservation first, friendship second, empathy dead last. And best believe the fans put 2 and 2 together too. Old clips of Funky shading Tasha got dug up and stitched right next to his cold Tamar commentary like it was evidence in a trial. The storyline started writing itself. Tamar as the victim, Funky as the jealous hater, and Tasha as the loud truth teller who's been warning the public all along. Every single side-eye Funky threw at Tamar's birthday suddenly hit different when fans replayed it with Tasha's words in the back of their minds. That's when the gag came full circle. Tamar's pain became the headline, but the real subplot was Funky and Tasha's never-ending rivalry dragging itself back into the spotlight. So no, Tamar didn't just gain sympathy from Tasha. She inherited an ally with a score to settle. And baby, when old beef finds new fuel, that fire burns hotter than ever. Now let's pump the brakes for just a second because this plot twist is only getting darker. See, while the internet already crowned Funky the cold villain and Tasha the loud truth teller, the real tea might be way murkier than that. What if, and stay with me now, both of them messy in their own way? Let's start with Tasha K. We know sis has a history of pushing it too far. That Cardi B lawsuit, that $4 million judgment still hovering over her like a storm cloud, remember? And let's be honest, her brand has always been spill first, fact check later. She thrives on rushing into stories before the receipts are airtight. So could she be projecting her beef with Funky onto Tamar's situation? Absolutely. She's been preaching for years that Funky hates women, especially successful black women. But child, sometimes a side eye is just a side eye. Maybe Funky was salty over Tamar's attention. Maybe he just had gas. Who knows? But blowing it up into a full-blown conspiracy? That could just be Tasha doing what Tasha does best, making herself the main character in every storm. But hold up, let's not let Funky off the hook either. His whole reaction to Tamar's health scare was cold as ice. Calling her the lady instead of my friend or Tamar felt detached at best, shady at worst. And then the way he rushed to build his alibi, naming times, places, who he saw, even what he ate, it read less like concern for Tamar and more like, let me cover my own tracks before the blogs drag me. Fans weren't wrong to clock that energy. Because if your friend says they woke up in a pool of blood, the last thing people want to hear is, well, child, I went to BJ Rooster's, had some cabbage, and went home. That's not friendship. That's a press release for self-preservation. When your friend says they're hurting, you check on them, you defend them, simple as that. But Funky's whole vibe screamed self-preservation over empathy, and that's why people are split down the middle. So here's the devil's advocate take.
I was so unhappy in the video because he's such a hater. He's such an envious person. He got so mad when Tamar got all the attention. This is the same way he treated me when I had to facilitate that wedding and I was the hired host. He walked around with his lip poked out and rolling his eyes every time Tasha K hits a room because he can't stand women, especially black women.
If Tasha's wrong, then she weaponized Tamar's pain just to rehash her old beef with Funky. That makes her look opportunistic, sliding herself into drama that was never hers to carry. In that case, Tamar's health scare becomes nothing more than a pawn in Tasha's never-ending war with Funky. Cold, but possible. Now flip it. If Funky's wrong, then he really did let jealousy and ego creep into his so-called friendship, leaving Tamar exposed while he focused on polishing his own image. And that would prove Tasha's been right all along, that Funky doesn't know how to support women without making it about himself. And here's the kicker. Both of these things can be true at the same time. Tasha could be exploiting Tamar's ordeal for clout, while Funky could also be guilty of being the shady, self-centered brand she's been warning us about. Two truths coexisting means the mess multiplies. And child, that's exactly why this whole situation feels less like a whodunit and more like a why y'all both like this. Tamar deserved better than being used as ammo in a feud that existed long before her name even got dragged in. But let's be real and ask the tough questions. Tamar Braxton, why you always in the middle of mess? Why is your so-called bestie a gossip blogger in the first place? Why is the one Tony herself said was spoiled and protected out here running the streets with Funky Dineva like y'all two high schoolers chasing clout? Sis, you're supposed to be music royalty. That voice alone should have had you booked, busy, and untouchable. You should be sitting at the grown folks table with legends, not going viral over birthday dinners, missing teeth, and mess with YouTubers. And yet here we are, Tamar's name tied up in Funky's edible alibis and Tasha K's never-ending vendetta. That ain't coincidence, that's a whole pattern. Funky being shady, that's his brand. Tasha being loud, that's her hustle. But what's Tamar's excuse? She keeps inviting this chaos into her circle, then when the smoke clears, she acts shocked like she just woke up in a pool of blood with no clue what went down. Child, you are what happened. If you really the star you claim to be, ask yourself this. Why don't you have real deal A-list allies standing with you? Beyonce ain't calling Funky for no doctor. Heavenly referral. Mary J. Blige ain't letting Tasha K speak for her. But Tamar, she stays orbiting gossip bloggers like one viral video away from becoming the content herself. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. The painful truth is Tamar had options. She could have leaned on her voice, her catalog, her story, all the tools that could have cemented her as untouchable. Instead, she leaned into the antics and made bloggers her inner circle. Now her headlines look less like Billboard stats and more like YouTube beef with Funky Dineva and Tasha K. Even in this latest drama, Tamar didn't play it quiet. She didn't move with grace. She fanned the flames. She's not just the victim here, she's complicit. Funky might have been jealous, shady, or selfish. Tasha K might have flipped her pain into the next crusade. But Tamar, sis, you signed up for this circus. You handed the clowns your spotlight, and now your show is chaos on full display. And that's the legacy check. Tamar's not just collateral damage in other people's fights. She's the architect of her own downfall. The gag? She's far too talented for this mess. She's got a God-given gift, but she keeps cashing it in on gossip. And the longer she plays these games, the less folks will remember that powerhouse voice. And the more they'll remember her as just another walking headline. If you're still locked in after all this tea, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more. See you next time.